what I'm going to talk about is some of the things that have been going on at Purdue, and I'm going to highlight some of the projects that relate to cyber activities. But as you'll hear, this is really the faculty's accomplishments. They have really nothing to do with all of us. We're all here to make it all happen. So this is our building block slide. This is what's happened last year. This has been really a tremendous year for Purdue. You can just see in the image all of the folks that have really helped us accomplish and you'll see the awards that we have. Of course, right there in the middle, you've got tomorrow or Friday's Nobel Prize winner. You've got the new Cyber Center director, Dr. Bertino. So this is just an image of some of the things, and I'll highlight some of those as we go through this. To give you some background, this is our award trend over 3 decades. You can see that Purdue has changed quite a bit. Over the last 10 years, we've seen an absolutely amazing increase in the number of awards that have come into Purdue. If you go back 3 decades ago, you see you were down here around $50 million, and now we're up in around 440, 430 something like that. So I mean, it's just an amazing increase. Over the last 10 years, you can see also what's happened here. We've gone from of the order of about 150 up to, like I said, about 360. So just an amazing accomplishment from the point of view of the faculty. Now this is valuable and important, but it really isn't the most important. The most important thing is this slide. This is how we spend the money. If you have money and you don't spend it, we didn't accomplish anything. So this is about hiring the students and doing the scholarship and creating the new knowledge. And you can see what's happened here. This is a 10-year image of our expenditures. We start up a little less than 300 million, and here we are almost up to 600 million. It turns out to be 576 based upon last year. And this is really what it's all about, right? The whole issue here is you go garner research support, but unless you do the work, publish the papers, graduate the students, we haven't accomplished anything. And so that's why this is really the focus of where we're going. By the way, because I always get this question, what's going to happen to this plot because of stimulus funding? This plot will continue to increase. Okay, we can almost guarantee it because there's so much spillover effect as you go forward from the previous awards that you had in the past that we're predicting this is just going to continue to rise on a very gradual basis, maybe a little slower than it did in this last year. But again, just a tremendous accomplishment. So let me highlight some of the cyber activities that are going on here. And you're going to hear a lot about these. From the program, you've got a lot of very accomplished speakers coming, some of which I'll talk about here. They will fill you in on more details as these 2 days transpire. This is the Hub Zero effort. The Hub Zero, I saw it on your program. You're going to hear from some of the folks that are dedicated to this activity. This is really the hallmark of this kind of virtual connectivity that we're all promoting. Started off with NCN, the Nanotechnology Computational Network, down here at the bottom, and now it's blown into a number of other hubs that we're all using. This is really a national resource, by the way. Even though we here at Purdue talk a lot about it, this is a tremendous resource for everyone in the country as well as in the world, and you're going to hear a lot more about that later. I wanted to highlight a very recent award that we just received from the National Science Foundation on the Science of Information. This is Dr. Spankowski's STC Science and Technology Center. This is the first Science and Technology Center that Purdue has received. In fact, we think it's the first Science and Technology Center that's come out of computer science at NSF. And you can see in the bottom here, the mission is trying to understand the manipulation, exchange of information, and integrating all the aspects of information, trying to take information to the next level. It's a 5-year award. The interesting part about this, Dr. Spankowski is leading this effort, but it really is a true partnership. That is, it takes 9 institutions across this country and almost equally it supports all these 9 institutions to try to accomplish this. Again, as you'll see through some of these slides, partnerships tend to be the key in a lot of these activities. This is a brand new network that we're just starting, built off of the NanoHub concepts, but focused in on the building of photovoltaic devices computationally. Okay, the same idea that the NCN promoted, now it's being pushed off into the photovoltaic technology. Mark Lindstrom is the person, and Dr. Allum are the 2 that are leading this effort. PRISM, I noted you're going to have a speaker later on this particular topic, but I wanted to highlight this because this is one of the truly cyber-connected activities that Purdue started a number of years ago. Jayathi Murthy is the lead on this particular project. The issue here is if you, and this, well, first of all, let's start off, it's the National Nuclear Security Administration is supporting this, so why would they be interested in this? We no longer can do any nuclear testing in this country, okay, or in the world, you'd like to think. And so how do you actually guarantee surety of these devices that we have? Okay, we have them, they're underground, and we need to make sure that they can, that they'll react the way we expect them to react. So you have to computationally assure that these devices will not have damage under all kinds of very weird situations, lightning strikes, things of this sort. This group is trying to compute this, and it's not computing to 50% accuracy, 80% accuracy, it's 99.999, 3 nines typically, accuracy. So you can imagine the challenge that these folks have, and you're going to hear a lot more about that particular project. I wanted to highlight 2 final projects here. This one's called Vaccine. Dr. Ebert is the PI on this particular grant. It comes from the Homeland Security, and I've tried to explain some of these grants to other folks, and I did this once, and for those of you who might have been there, on an energy project, I tried to explain Maureen McCann's energy project. She happened to be in the crowd. Didn't give me very good marks for my explanation, so rather than try to do that, I'll let Dr. Ebert explain this one to you.
The name of our team is, we have the acronym VACCINE, standing for Visual Analytics for Command, Control, and Interoperability Environments. And the mission of VACCINE is to create the next generation of technology to allow the integration of massive data sources into an environment and create visuals where people can interact with them and quickly understand the situation and make their decisions from very simple graphical representations. The whole idea of this is there's more and more data that's becoming available through the web, through simulations, through sensors that are being placed in environments. But in a crisis situation, you need to make a very quick decision. And through your visual processing, your eyes are great at giving you quick information and allowing you to pick out the important features quickly. So instead of looking at a table of numbers, we create a graphic display, whether it's information on a map or a building floor plan, or other simple visual representations, so you can see where your effort should be placed to solve the problem the most quickly.
The last example is our knees activity. Julio Ramirez is the PI on this particular award. This came through just last year. As you can see there, it's a $105 million award that came to Purdue. Again, it's this partnership issue, though, because we're partnering with physical facilities around the country, 14 of these physical facilities around the country, and we're making all this information available to everyone in the country and the world, for that matter. And so as a final example, I'll let Julio talk about what knees is about.
A $105 million National Science Foundation grant is putting Purdue at the center of a hub of universities conducting earthquake safety research. Purdue will create the Cyberinfrastructure that will connect all 14 members of the Network for Earthquake Engineering Simulation.
Simply speaking, what we have to do is to make the sum greater than the parts by becoming the headquarters that manages these 15 sites. Actually, the money will flow through Purdue to these sites.
Earthquakes have killed nearly 500,000 people in the last decade alone.
Where I want to be 5 years is where this network can do the best to mitigate risk associated with earthquakes, save lives, reduce economic loss. Most important, I think I would like to see this network as a collaboratory, a place where people do research together, where they educate, where they train, where we actually impact practice.
Purdue will use its Hub Zero technology and the National Science Foundation's TerraGrid to make it easier to share earthquake research data.
So all these experiments produce a lot of data that comes from sensor that they apply to buildings, for example, when they shake a building on some big shake table. So we collect that data, store it, make it available to others who may not own such equipment, so that others can actually take advantage of that national infrastructure as well.
The project also focuses on education and outreach. The Nice Academy will use cyber education tools to develop interest in science, technology, engineering, and math among young students.
What we're doing in this operation is to manage the resources of the nation, physical and human, so that those new things that we see, we understand them and we do improvements so that they won't happen again.
I told you they could do a better job than I can. With that, let me thank you for coming, and I hope you have a very good meeting. Thank you.